Welcome guys, thank you so much for joining in. So what is happening right now with price action of Bitcoin? Because if we look at the price structure starting in a daily time frame, we can see the price of Bitcoin is showing a clear sign of weakness, and along with that we are also seeing another bearish scenario unfolding here for Bitcoin, which is this crossover, this 50 exponential moving average crossing above this 20 exponential moving average. In the past Bitcoin price action, you can see whenever we saw this crossover happening where the 50 exponential moving average cross above this 20 exponential moving average, the price of Bitcoin showed a clear sign of weakness and also pullback type of scenario. You can see this similar scenario has unfolded again and again here in the past Bitcoin price action. So that's why right now we have to be very careful, because this crossover is also happening right now, and now this could be also an indication that the trend might be weakening. But if you look here to the downside, the MACD line, right, is clearly in a negative territory and also a bearish MACD cross. RSI still below 50 level, indicating clear sign of weakness, and also the T3CCI in a negative territory. So in a daily time frame, the price of Bitcoin is showing a clear sign of weakness, and we have to take this into consideration. And now if this trend here is going to see any sort of a pullback here to the downside, where we might be possibly heading, for that I have this one scenario that I also talked in my previous video. So guys, now if we look at this price action of Bitcoin in a daily time frame, what we can do is we can simply add this rising trend line first, because we are aware this rising trend line is not just only acting as a line of support, right, but it's also showing us the possible trend direction. So if this trend is going to continue here to the downside, then we are aware this rising trend line is where we might be getting gravitated at this current stage, and this could be around 38,000 price area. And why this price pullback here to the around this 38,000 actually make a lot of sense is because if you look at this price structure here, right, you can see impulsive movement, corrective movement, and this consolidation, or more of a range bound type of scenario. If it's going to happen, it is known as a nested pullback. I did show you this diagram here. First is this trending market, second is this pullback, third is where the pullback begins moving towards the target area, and before we actually start this real move here to the upside, we see small pause in the nested pullback, and that's why it is actually looking pretty similar to what we are witnessing right now here in price action of Bitcoin. So if this is going to be a nested pullback for Bitcoin, let me switch this into weekly time frame, right? You can see it properly. You can see in a weekly right now we can also see an impulsive movement, corrective movement, and this here could be a nested pullback scenario before price chooses an actual trend direction, because this similar scenario could also be happening according to this nested pullback, and this could still be in favor of bulls. Even if the price of Bitcoin does show some more pullback around this rising trend line, then we are also aware this nested pullback scenario could be unfolding parallelly, right? But if we look at this here now in a smaller time frame, you can see a very interesting scenario unfolding right now with Bitcoin. Now, if we look at this price action here in a 4-hour time frame, guys, you can see one very interesting scenario that might be also pointing out the price of Bitcoin could be seeing some more downward price movement before again chooses an actual trend direction. Because if you look at this symmetrical triangle, this symmetrical triangle is forming when the trend is heading here to the downside. So in a downtrend, symmetrical triangle like this usually breaks here to the downside and not here to the upside. Because if you look at the similar example, let me show you one here. You can see, guys, this here is a bearish symmetrical triangle in a downtrend, and in our case, right, if you look at this properly, you can see pretty similar scenario unfolding right now with Bitcoin price action. So if this consolidation phase right now what we are witnessing is going to see another movement here in this manner and price breaking the support from this lower line area of the symmetrical triangle, then we have to be careful, because this price pullback then could be leading us towards a downward price movement. And in this case, right, in this case, our price target is going to be around this rising trend line, which is lying around 38,000 price area. And why I'm talking about this 38,000 so many times is because if we simply, right, what we can also do is add this one scenario. What we can do is we can add this Fibonacci retracement from this swing low, right, from this swing low till this swing high area. Because if this trend is going to continue here to the downside, breaking this symmetrical triangle, right, this symmetrical triangle scenario, if it's going to continue here to the downside, then we are aware our first target is going to be somewhere around $41,126, which is going to be the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement line, and the important line, which is the golden pocket level, the 0.618, and this 0.618 is also lying around 38,000. And I just showed you with this rising trend line, the price of Bitcoin, if it's going to see a pullback, 38,000 is going to be the strongest line of support. And not just only because of this rising trend line, but if you also simply add this moving averages, this 50 weekly moving average, because if you look at this 50 weekly moving average, this is also right now lying around 39,000. So which is also indicating if we do see a pullback, 39,000 and 38,000 here is definitely going to be one strong line of support for Bitcoin. And this line must not be broken, because if you do break below this 38,000, then that is clear sign of weakness and price is probably going to go even lower than 38,000 price range. But so far as we can see, we are focusing around this symmetrical triangle, and also if this is going to also break here to the downside, then we know this 0.618, the golden pocket level, is where we will be monitoring the price movement to continue. And if you simply like look at this in another way, very simple scenario, that is actually a descending channel. We did talk about this on my yesterday video. The reason why I'm bringing back this again is because we can see in a 4-hour time frame, the price of Bitcoin was not able to break out of this upper line area of this descending channel. And I have been very clear, unless the price is not going to break out of this upper line area of the descending channel and also flip this resistance from 45 to 46,000 into support, right, the trend here could still be weakening. So even if we are going to see some sort of an impulsive movement, we have to watch this price if it is actually going to cross above this 45 to 46,000 range or not, because sitting below this 45 to 46,000 is still a sign of weakness. We have to take this scenario into consideration. And right now, if you look at this price structure, you can also see we are seeing some sort of a pullback. But if you look at this in a whole, by simply adding this Fibonacci retracement line, you can see the 0.5 and the 0.618 Fibonacci line was the most important line. We got a rejection, right? And after that, we saw this pullback. I even talked about this on my previous video. You can see pretty similar scenario again happening here. If you look at this price structure, so you can see we did came across this 0.5 to 0.618. You can see here, right? But was unable to find support over it. So you can see this line acted as a resistance, and we are seeing this pullback type of scenario. So if this is going to be a pullback, then this pullback should actually be lower than the previous low according to this dead cat bounce type of scenario, right? So that's why, guys, around this 38,000, this is where we could be gravitating here in the immediate short term for Bitcoin. But if we do find proper support around this price range of 41,000, right, then we could still see some more consolidation or range bound type of scenario. But as I've already been very clear to you, as long as the price of Bitcoin is not going to break above this 45 to 46,000, we could still see some more shakeout before price chooses an actual trend direction. So guys, as you can see in a smaller time frame, in a daily time frame, and also in a bigger time frame, the price of Bitcoin is showing a clear sign of weakness. But if we do find a proper support around this 41,000, then we should be expecting some more range bound type of scenario playing out for Bitcoin. So these are some of the scenario I thought sharing with you in today's episode. If you enjoyed my work, then please hit the like button. And for those individuals watching this for the first time, come on guys, hit that subscribe button and the bell. By saying this, I'm signing out. My name is Anup. Bye bye guys.